Starting off your clay project, the first thing you're going to want to do is wedge the clay, which you can see I'm doing with my hands here, slapping the clay, compressing the clay down, getting rid of all air bubbles. When you're done wedging the clay, you're going to get it in the shape of the thick part of your creature, and then you're going to slice it in half. Notice that I sliced straight down and created two nice equal halves. Now I'm going to draw the lines in the space where I'm going to carve out. Notice I'm leaving space around the outside edge so that when I reattach, I have a place to slip and score. I'm going to put the clay in the palm of my hand so I don't change the shape of it. If I use my fingers, it starts to collapse on me a little bit. So you want to gently hold this thing as you slowly scrape out the middles of the creature half that you have there. Now that I'm all hollowed out, it's time to reattach my two pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is check my thicknesses, make sure the thickness of the clay is consistent throughout. Then I'm getting a wet finger here, and I'm going to smooth out the insides and compress down just a little bit the insides and maybe where the two pieces are coming together of the two halves. Now I'm ready to attach my two halves together. What I want to do is, at this point, start doing the score marks for the slipping and scoring. Remember, whenever we put two pieces of clay together, any two, we need to slip and score. In doing this, we need score marks all over the two pieces where they attach. Where they touch is where your score marks are going to be. So you're going to see here, as I do this, there are going to be score marks all over the place before I put the two halves together. Now that your score marks are all over both halves, you can start to add the slip. When you've added the slip, you can put the two halves together. Try your best to line them up and squeeze them together where you'll see a little bit of the slip squeeze out. After you get them lined up, now you're going to meld them together. You're going to see here, I do that by rubbing my finger across the seam or perpendicular to the seam over and over, wetting my finger if necessary, and melding these two pieces together. Make sure to rub your finger across the seam and not with the seam. If you run it with the seam, they won't go together. You have to push those two pieces of clay together, constantly keeping it lined up, patting it back in place, using your fingers to sculpt, and then you'll come up with a nice finished hollow piece. Your final step before putting on the decorations is to poke a hole inside of your hollow piece so that the air can circulate in and out. When doing this, you can use any clay tool, but the key is to make sure there are no clay pieces that are inside of that hole blocking the air from going in and out. Make sure the hole is clear of clay pieces. Now that you have your two pieces of clay together in the hole, you have a finished hollow piece to your ceramic creature.